Durkon sighed. These past few centuries have been rough. Sure, at the start, this gig had been like any other. Sign up to reap the souls of this sentient species. When these conditions are met, that were set forth when they were created until the species goes extinct. It was a pretty common career, and at first he thought he got lucky. Most gigs only lasted a few million years. It was rare for sentient species to make it to civilization. Once upon a time, he was even excited. He could move up in the world with how many souls he'd harvest. The worst part was that all the other Reapers laughed at him. They saw his statistics and assumed he was so shitty at his job, it would be any day now before he got sacked. Then they'd be able to take over a species that was already in its space age, and reap the benefits for themselves. Well, they could have it. Durkon knew he was good at his job. It was why he had been chosen. But this species was infuriating. He'd seen a human's heart had stopped and showed up to reap the soul. Then it got restarted. The worst was when the same human's heart stopped, other humans started it again, but then it stopped again, so he couldn't just leave, but the damn human wouldn't actually die, and he couldn't harvest the soul. His numbers were so abysmal, he knew that he'd never be able to find work once this gig was up. He didn't even want to know what his ratio of death to harvest was anymore. Massive amounts of blood loss? They pump more blood in from someone else. Organ failure? Implant a new one. About to fall to death from a height that would normally kill them? Giant pieces of cloth that slowed them down. All their skin burned off? Just cover it up, transplant some, and grow it back. Deadly infection? Antibiotics? Humans were the worst. What a horrible client. It was like they were trying to make his job as awful as possible. He knew it was just starting too. They'd find other planets soon, and their population would explode. Because although they didn't breed too fast compared to some other species he'd reaped, they just didn't die. For a while now he'd had hellish work, but at least it was constant. Soon, it'd get worse by the day. Miserable little fuckers. He wished he could just throw a meteor of their planets before they could get someone off it, so he could move on to something else. Oh, that's a warp drive. Too late now, then. Durkon called it a day and went home. This was not something he wanted to deal with right now. Durkon was busier than ever, showing up to humans on the verge of death, and then they just didn't die. Stuck in this hellish contract, unable to leave until hopefully this species got xenocided by one of their neighbours for being so insufferable. Hey! Durkon looked up. It was Belef, the guy in charge of the Farconians. He'd been doing it forever, and everyone agreed he had the best job. Durkon didn't think Belef had ever even looked at him before, let alone spoken. What was a bigwig like him doing here? Belef, it is an honour to speak to you. What has brought you here? Durkon hated speaking so formally, but unless he really wanted to be chewed out, it was better to be respectful. No matter how much he envied Belef for having the perfect fucking species for basically the rest of his career. You know damn well why I'm here. You suck at your job. You suck at your job so much that it's affecting me. Do you know how many deaths I've shown up to in the past week where they didn't actually die? I was sure I'd get a nice bonus once the Farconians made first contact with your little backwater shithole since the diseases would decimate them. Instead, none of the first contact team have died. Sure, they got sick, but the humans had just made them eat something and I couldn't do a damn thing. I've seen your numbers, but how the fuck is it infectious? I've had this nice cushy gig for millions of years, and all of a sudden your species shows up and fucks us all up. How did you let their population get to 15 billion on their home planets alone? How lazy are you? Do you show up, take a nap, and then clock out for the day? What the fuck are you doing? Durkon lost it. Completely apeshit. It was frowned upon simply to raise your voice to a superior. Durkon just started beating the shit out of him. No words, just pure unadulterated violence. Belef was in a daze as Durkon's fist continually made contact with his face. Before he knew it, Durkon was being pulled off of Belef by other Reapers who happened to be in the area. You call me lazy? Lazy? I've shown up to more deaths in the past week than you have in the past 100,000 years. Do you have any idea what this species is like? They just don't die. All you fuckers see is my goddamn ratio. I know how bad it is. It's my ratio. I can't even quit because I signed on for the full lifespan of the species. It's driving me insane. I haven't even gone home in the past week because they found a bunch of habitable planets and suicidally thrown themselves at them, but still not dying. You call me lazy again and I'll fucking kill you, goddamn prick. I don't care how powerful you are. I don't give a shit about the consequences. Fuck you and fuck your species. I hope this shit is infectious so you can feel a fraction of the pain I've dealt with. Just wait until humans teach them how to do organ transplants. You won't sleep for a month. Durkon continued to rave incessantly, even as other Reapers tried to calm him down. He'd snapped. Durkon got angrier and angrier until he eventually just passed out while Belef was left to recover. The other Reapers looked at each other with confusion. What the hell is medicine? I don't know, but I sure hope none of my species ever figure it out.